up, everybody? Welcome to this brand new live episode of the
Geek Buddies. Hey!
We're back at it on a Friday. Ooh, what do you got going on there? It's our happy hour live show. What do you got going on there, Shannon? What's your drink of choice tonight?
Well, Johnny, this is a concoction that my wife and we follow this one guy on Instagram. I think it's called Tim the Tank, who he's a mixologist. He posted this recipe. We wanted to give it a try. It is a Guinness espresso martini.
Oh, interesting.
It is 1 ounce of Guinness, 1 ounce of espresso, 1 ounce of vanilla vodka, 1 ounce of coffee liqueur, 1 ounce of espresso, and 3 shakes of chocolate bitters.
Oh, God bless. God bless. A lot. Okay. I respect it. Wow.
We actually went out and bought these glasses for this drink.
Just to be able to have the drink. I respect it. Well, we appreciate everybody who is joining us live. It is a happy hour, so hopefully you've got yourselves a drink in hand as well, and you're ready to join us and have a little fun. There is some big news I'm going to be breaking in a little bit, some DC news. Shannon knows about it a little bit, but I don't know fully if he knows everything about it, but we've got some news to break in just a few minutes. We're not going to lead off the show with it. Wait till more people come in and hang out with us live before we break the news, but it is legitimate DC news that I'm going to be breaking here on the show. You know, normally do it on the hot mic, but this fell on a Friday, and I thought, why not? Let's have a little live show and have fun tonight. So hopefully you've got your drinks lined up. You got things squared away for yourselves. I got a little bit of Nearest Green Tennessee whiskey, 84 proof that I've lined up here. And because I can't have regular Coke anymore, I have to have some Zevia creamy root beer. That's the combo we're doing tonight. For those of you who know me, and that's Shannon McClung, you know I like my drinks a little sweet, a little sugary. So it'll be a mixture tonight for sure.
He's soft and gooey on the inside.
That's for sure. Real quick before we start though, Shannon, how was your day? Anything you can tell us about your day? Anything you get into about your day? Or
Nothing huge. Well, I mean, I guess I can say now. I mean, we're close enough. I am coming back to the pit.
Yes.
I will be not on next week, but the week after.
Okay.
So you will see me in my first. Hey! You will see me in my first episode of the season. So it's in 2 weeks, and I'm in more than one episode. So leave it at that.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Yeah, we appreciate that, Shannon. Of course, we love seeing all the stuff you got going on for sure. Writing and performing on screen, voiceover work, all stuff, plus stuff you do here on the show. And of course, if people want to catch him at the park, as I just did recently, you can head on over to Universal Studios and enjoy him wrangling some raptors as well. So yeah, that's great, dude. Today was very much out of the house day because we had our cleaners come through the house. They come out like once a month to kind of make sure the house is clean. And I had to go to the dentist. So I'm fresh off of cleaning in here. She was scraping in there and doing her business to clear up the stuff going on with my teeth. So if I get a little weird at how I'm speaking, it'll be because my teeth are hurting me a little bit. But I'm ready to go today, Shannon, because we got big news coming to DC. We got Marvel news to talk about. We got some Dan Trachtenberg news to talk about. Very curious to hear what you have to say about that. Some news going on here with Jared Leto opening his mouth again. We got some trailers to talk about. And we are live. So we would really appreciate y'all sending in some Streamlabs and Super Chats. This is a relaxed happy hour Geek Buddies, so we're chilling out. What stories do you want to hear? What do you want us to tell you? What do you want us to talk about our relationships or stuff going on behind the scenes of these things? You can ask it all. Hopefully we can answer it, but you can ask it all. And sadly, Michael couldn't join us today because he is under the weather. So me and Shannon are handling our business here today on the show. But let's jump up with this first thing to start off our DC news block here. Shannon, let's talk about this. This just came over the wire earlier today, and that is James Gunn, of all people, is enlisting Junkie XL of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice and Zack Snyder's Justice League to score Supergirl. It was announced in December that Game of Thrones composer Ramin Djawadi was going to come on board to score the music, but now apparently he may have been too busy to do it because Film Music Reporter has it that Djawadi has been replaced on Supergirl by Junkie XL. For those of you know him, he is a Dutch composer and musician. Real name is Tom Hulkenberg, but a lot of people have really enjoyed his scores for the Zack Snyder movies. But Shannon, don't you think he's opening the door to people reacting to this in such a what the F kind of way to have the Zack Snyder composer come onto his movies? Your thoughts on this?
I do not feel this because Hans Zimmer came off of the Batman movies and then he went to do Man of Steel and he was the composer on Batman v Superman, but they brought Junkie XL in. Specifically, they worked on it together, but specifically he did the Batman theme.
Yes.
And if you went and saw, the Justice League, I can't remember. Was that Danny Elfman? I don't remember. But then when they did,
so, yeah.
it was Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
So then when they did
the Batman score. Yeah.
But then when we did Zack Snyder's Justice League, he also brought in Hulkenberg as well. Like this guy's he's a phenomenal musical talent. I mean, this is the guy behind Fury Road. I mean, there are some fantastic tracks in that. So I mean, I understand to a degree what you're saying, like, oh, we're reaching back for, going back to the well for the things that Zach chose. But that's kind of a different thing. Again, and the best example is the Hans Zimmer from one corner of the DC universe to the other that shared the same character. So I don't think, I mean, for me, this is not going to be an issue at all. Ramin Djawadi is also an incredible composer. They're both great choices. But I'm excited to hear what Junkie XL brings to Supergirl, because Junkie XL does have kind of a rock and roll feel for some of his pieces, and it seems like that kind of lines up with the visual for what they're going to be doing for this one.
Yeah, there's no way they just let this drop and haven't had this in motion. This film comes out in June, right? So we're in the second month of the year. That is 4 months away. This film comes out, a little bit over 4 months because it comes out near the end of June. So is that enough time to compose an entire score for a movie that's already been shot, edited, and is probably being shown around town to some really small group of people? This is an interesting decision. Did they not like Djawadi's score and now they're changing the score? Do they think the score was an issue with the movie? So they're bringing in someone like Junkie XL, who, as you said, I think correctly so, Shannon, mirrors the vibe and the energy that we've seen from these teaser trailers and TV spots for Supergirl that we've gotten. Of course, we're going to get another one during the Super Bowl or maybe just before the Super Bowl, depending on when they release it. Will that have some of that Junkie XL score on it, or are we waiting to hear tracks from that? I'm really curious to hear because I mean, it was clearly they clearly used music, right? It was a Blondie song, I think they used on the most recent trailer for Supergirl. So the question becomes, did they already hear the score, didn't like the score, did the score didn't match what they had on screen, or has Djawadi not even done anything yet and they made this decision to go with Junkie XL? And how far along in the process, I wonder, is Junkie XL in composing the score for this movie? No?
Well, it could be either one. It could be that there were creative differences. That's certainly a possibility. But it's also maybe he never did anything. Maybe it was maybe it was a scheduling issue. But also my guess is whenever this news broke, he didn't start that day.
Exactly. Right.
He's been on this for a minute, and it's not unusual to have a movie 4 months out from release not to be scored yet. That's not unusual. I mean, and a lot of times when you see trailers for films, it's not always the score that's going to be in the movie. I mean, they use pre-existing stuff all the time. So I don't think there's any sort of red flag here. I really don't. Red flag, red cape. I really don't think that's an issue. I mean, I think if there had been sort of a public fallout, we would have heard about it, because I don't remember. I think it was for King Kong. I think Howard Shore was originally doing it because he'd worked with Peter Jackson on Lord of the Rings, and then because most of the team from Peter Jackson's first Middle Earth trilogy, a lot of them did go over to King Kong. When they reached that fork in the road, that's maybe this isn't the best pairing. They did make an announcement that, hey, Howard Shore is no longer doing the score. I can't remember who took over. But there was an announcement. But also there was such a this team is now doing this thing, and I don't think that's the case with Supergirl, in my opinion.
Well, and I'm going to play devil's advocate, and then we'll move on from this. But I mean, I think this is, what? Why do you want to throw red meat to the Snyder heads? I don't understand this. To me, it's a little like there are no other composers around that you could have used that don't come with the Zack Snyder quote unquote baggage. Like, this is the question. Now, I see Arthur say Rocha always reaching for something negative. I didn't say it was negative. I love that Junkie XL's coming in. I like Junkie XL score. I think he's going to do a great score for Supergirl. I think it's a perfect fit. If I want to be honest with you, I didn't think the Djawadi thing fit from the beginning, especially after I saw the trailer. I was like, that's not the avenue they want to go down. So I love that Junkie XL is coming in. I'm not saying it's a negative. What I am saying, though, is that I'm really confused as to why you would stoke the fire of the Snyder heads by bringing in the guy who did the score for those two movies that the Snyder heads thoroughly fucking love to come into this situation. Because isn't this whole thing like bring back the Snyderverse? That is still happening. Netflix is gonna bring back the Snyderverse. You're just starting this all over again. So I wonder if this is Gunn like having a little fucking fun and couldn't resist, or if legitimately there was no one else that he felt could do the score that matched the music. Oh, and Craig Gillespie, of course, obviously is the director of the film as well. Maybe they in tandem felt like Junkie XL was the right choice, but I wouldn't be surprised that people are going to go off on this and say that it's another evidence that he's copying Snyder, or he's going to bring the Snyder, or they're going to bring the Snyders back. You know how these people work. I'm not saying I agree with them. I want to make that clear. Arthur, to you, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying I can see where people can come with this. That's all I'm getting.
I would be honestly curious for the big Snyder fans out there. Because I wouldn't say I'm not a Snyder fan. Like, I've enjoyed quite a few of his movies. I just didn't enjoy Batman versus Superman. And I thought his Justice League was a massive improvement on what we got. But I would be very curious for like these diehard fans. I'm like, can you actually hum the theme to Zack Snyder's Justice League? My guess is that's going to be a big fat no. I mean, I can hum the theme. Yeah. I mean, I can't to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I can hum his Batman theme from BVS. Right. So, I mean, I do think if there is someone out there that is taking umbrage with this creative choice, it feels like they're taking umbrage to take umbrage, not because they're actually offended by the fact that Junkie XL is making the leap from one DC iteration to the next.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be offended by it, but I think it's going to get tongues wagging and fingers going for sure. That's my only point of it. But Shannon, this just broke. I'm just realizing now, 45 minutes ago here, speaking of DC, Clayface has been moved. They're moving Clayface now to October 23rd. Wow, my birthday, the day of my birthday, 2026. It's moved from September 11th to 2026 now. That is when Clayface is going to come out. Interesting stuff here that they're moving Clayface. Do you think this is being done probably to come closer to Halloween to kind of capture that energy, or are there issues and they need to put it a little bit farther to give themselves some post-production time? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think a 5-week delay when you are more than 6 months out from your movie, I don't think that 5 weeks is going to do that much. No, I think this is 100% to capitalize on the Halloween audience. I mean, I thought the September 11th, like the week after, was that Labor Day? The week after Labor Day, I'm like, you're going to have, a pretty wide open field. True. September is not known to have a bunch of great films. Like we get the odd one every so often. But I love the fact that the first body horror film from DC is coming out around Halloween. I mean, that was one of my issues, like with Agatha. I was just like, God, I enjoyed the show. I wish you would have been releasing it during Halloween, because I think
that's a good point.
I think that's just such a great time, because sometimes on Halloween, I mean, when you're getting a little older and if you don't have kids, you don't necessarily want to go out and party. Like, but you know what you would want to do? Go out and see a scary movie. And if Clayface does turn out to be this horror film, I think this is such a smart move. I'd have backed it up even further. I'd like, let's go 2 weeks before, like, let's own the month. But from, the week before Halloween into, the holiday movies, I think this was an incredibly smart move.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's not really anything around September. Just the new Sense and Sensibility starring Daisy Edgar Jones. There's Resident Evil 7 days later on Practical Magic 2. I can't imagine that would have necessarily rivaled that strongly. Clayface, and then the Terrifier 4, then the Tom Cruise uh Digger on October 2nd, then The Last Airbender on October 9th, and The Social Reckoning, which I can't wait. Street Fighter October 16th. So the only thing coming out on 23rd is Wildwood right now. Which I don't know much about, the Jacob Tremblay Carey Mulligan film. So I guess that's a good place to put it. You get like 2 weeks before Godzilla Minus Zero comes out on November 6th. So maybe you want to own a couple of weeks there during Halloween and have some fun with it and get as much money as you can for a film that not a lot of people think is going to make a lot of money anyway, like 40, I don't know, 100 million if it's lucky, I guess, or maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know. I really don't know what the situation is.
Horror movies are a different breed. I mean, you can have something kind of catch fire and just take off. I mean, like the first Scream, no one could have foreseen how much money it was going to make, but also the franchise it was going to kick off. I mean, even after the first weekend, they didn't think that. Like it opened okay, and then word of mouth just built. And granted, we are in a very different time than when Scream came out in like 1997, 1996. It's a much different world in terms of the media landscape. But I think scary movies at Halloween, that is an easy bet.
Yeah, fair point. One last little bit of DC news before we get to the big DC news. And like I said, the Streamlabs and Super Chats are open. We're 16 minutes into the show. Send in love. I see already 3 Super Chats. Send in your questions, thoughts, and comments as we go. Would appreciate it. There's 250 of you already joining us live. Thank you so much on a Friday night for hanging out with us. You can follow Shannon there at his handle there and follow me at my handle, but also subscribe to the channel down below. But let's know what you think about all those stories up to this point. Let's move to this one there, Shannon. This is coming to us from Deadline. Hawkgirl, as if we didn't know this already, brother. Hawkgirl is going to be a part of Man of Tomorrow. A lot of people kind of suspected that already, but she will be part of this thing. Of course, she just recently started the season of The Last of Us and Alien Romulus. She has been set to lead the movie adaptation of The House of the Dead, but also is going to be coming back to be a part of Man of Tomorrow. So what are your thoughts on this? This is coming to us from Deadline. It's totally happening. So are you excited about this? Does this make sense? And will we see her get a comeuppance for tossing Hobie into a bridge or into a building?
I mean, if based off of Peacemaker season 2, the fact that they didn't address it there, which was pretty shocking. My guess, knowing how Peacemaker season 2 ended, is that will be referenced in some capacity.
Oh, sure.
I mean, again, if Man of Tomorrow is this sort of prelude to the Justice League with all of these other heroes showing up, no, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, Isabela Merced of the Justice Gang, I think narratively she was given kind of the short shrift. I mean, Mr. Terrific had the most to do. He was the most plot essential. Guy Gardner is just, we've never had Guy Gardner in live action on the big screen, and Nathan Fillion played it beautifully. Isabela Merced, she was, she's just kind of there, and that is no fault of the performer. That is a fault of the writing. Right. And one of the things that I did feel was she just looked so young. Next to the other two, that I can't remember the actress who played the engineer. I was kind of like, I feel like maybe she should have been Hawkgirl, but now that she is, she's aging. I mean, give her a couple more years. She should fit right in. I mean, again, the weirdness that happened with that character, just sort of like not really having a distinct point of view. That is not the performer's fault. There is a definite possibility that she did have more to do, and it just ended up on the cutting room floor. So Isabela Merced's great. Give her more to do. Let's see her swing that mace.
Well, listen, you can complain about, what you get a chance to do, what you don't get a chance to do. But the truth is you want to be able to get into a situation where you can do stuff. And she's now proving that she can be an essential part of a number of franchises, and now getting a shot to lead his House of the Dead franchise based on the video game. I think that's a positive for her. Getting more time as Hawkgirl. And look, that film is already stacked with characters. You got Brainiac, you got Lex coming back to have a bigger part of this thing. God knows, Metamorpho, more of the Justice Gang. So we're going to get more of the people involved in it. So why not bring her back and have her do more? And I'm sure there's going to be a situation where she's got to pay for what she did, because a lot of people seem to have an issue with it. I personally don't, but I know a lot of people have an issue with what she did. So it's going to have to be this conversation about this whole thing, because certainly a lot of people, including our compatriot Michael Vogel, has talked about how much they were uncomfortable with that moment and thinks there should be some sort of repercussion for what she did, especially with Superman not being someone who advocates killing people. So that's going to be a fast, if he died. I can't imagine he didn't die, though, Shannon, to be real. So we will see where that leads us, for sure.
Unless he was a metahuman, my guess is that the president of Baravia is probably dead.
Probably gone. Yeah. I suppose you're right. All right, so that's all the DC news before I talk about my thing. So do I have a thumbnail for it? Okay. So we know that there was a project that James Gunn has talked about, and that has been reported quite a few times here. The status of it has been reported quite a few times by people. I want to give a little bit of a background on this before I get into the actual news. But, as recently as June, we got an update on the project. And it was in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, where DC Studios co-chief gave a small but welcome update on the project. And that project is Paradise Lost. He said Paradise Lost is moving along. It's slow moving, but it's moving. And yeah, I really love that project a lot. So cut to today. And let me say that sources are telling me that DC was meeting with writers for Paradise Lost, was taking pitches for Paradise Lost, but they've been informed that the project is dead. Paradise Lost is dead, will not be happening as a TV show, and not dead in the sense of like, well, they're just going to wait for a script. And no, apparently they're being told, these writers and these people who've pitched storylines for Paradise Lost to be the showrunners or the writers on Paradise Lost, they've been told that this project is now dead, no longer in active development, dead. And that is a massive bit of news, because I think a lot of people felt that it was a little weird that you were going to do a Themyscera show, but not have Wonder Woman first. It was kind of a back-end way of doing it, kind of like those Sony films without a Spider-Man. So, kind of like Gotham without Batman fully. So, Shannon, your thoughts on this? Are you sad to hear about this? Is this an opportunity lost, or is this a situation where this seems like the smarter move? It seems like the smarter move because people are clamoring for Wonder Woman sooner rather than later. Your thoughts?
I mean, there's so much we don't know about what the project was going to be. Like, roughly what I vaguely remember is that it's sort of, they wanted to do sort of a prequel Game of Thrones style story in Themyscera. On paper, that sounds great. Like that sounds like there's a lot of potential there. But I mean, I do think James Gunn and his crew are learning some lessons that the folks over Star Wars had to learn about announcing things. Because I don't think you ever announce something with the intention of not making it.
Of course not. Of course not.
You announce a show because you want to get people excited, but you're also announcing its existence. So I don't think when someone not to digress too hard, but like when Star Wars had their investor day or whatever, and they announced Rangers of the New Republic, and that was supposed to be a Cara Dune show, but they'd already gotten rid of Gina Carano at that point. It's like, maybe we do a different graphic. We just take that off. But in terms of announcing a bunch of things, plans change. I mean, and Vogel says this all the time, that you have an idea of what you want to do with the story going forward, and some things start to click and some things don't. And then you get other ideas like, well, if we did this instead, we could try this. And so I feel like that is the danger with announcing a slate before one frame of film has been shot on one thing. So does it surprise me? I mean, it seems like obviously a Themyscera show has to connect to Wonder Woman in some capacity. Whether, I mean, and it could be thin. I mean, it could be the smallest of threads. But as they start to see that people really want to get to Wonder Woman, It's like, maybe this story is not strong enough for us to delay the introduction of one of our big three, one of our big four.
Yeah.
So, you would rather them kind of, sideline something that isn't coming together than get too far down a road with something that people aren't confident in. And it seems like that's what's kind of happening with the Authority.
Yes.
We haven't, there were some rumblings about Booster Gold, about some potential casting, but that didn't really pan out. And again, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Like they could have their Wonder Woman cast. That is so possible. But yeah, in terms of something that could be classified, this is not me saying this is what it was, but something that could be classified as a spinoff before you get to your character. That doesn't seem like a bad decision to make. But again, I mean, I think they're focusing on what their strengths are right now, and this didn't seem to be a strength.
Yeah, I mean, to give a little bit more background, is the show was supposed to take place long before Diana's birth and explore the politics, power struggles, and the mythology of Themyscera itself. Gunn had previously described the show as a kind of DCU-flavored Game of Thrones, a political fantasy thriller set in a paradise that isn't as peaceful as it looks. The show was originally announced in January 2023, as you said, Shannon. It was believed to take inspiration from the Paradise Island Lost comic arc by Phil Jimenez and George Perez. Shout out to George there. But the creative teams hadn't been revealed, right? And the fact that we were hearing from our sources, or from my sources rather, we're hearing that that they were taking pitches, that they were talking to potential showrunners. We saw that recently in the Harry Potter show that 3 or 4 showrunners were pitching all the way to the end until they chose one showrunner, the woman from Succession. So it seems to me that they were in active consideration for this and then just made the decision that they're not going to go forward with it. And I wonder what's behind the decision. Is it the fans' desire for Wonder Woman, which has been building as a steady drumbeat since Superman came out, wanting a Wonder Woman? Is it that it's a female-led show and Amazonians and they're going to be strong with muscles? Did Warner Brothers feel like that wasn't the way to go, to have a female-led show like this as a TV series? Is there a feeling, because we've heard these rumors too over the last few months, Shannon, that like Warner Brothers isn't really on board with doing a lot of DC shows in the James Gunn universe. Like Lanterns made the cut, but there's been rumblings and rumors that they don't necessarily want to turn HBO Max into a DC TV show factory. Yes, we've had Peacemaker, and yes, we're going to get Lanterns, but maybe there was a feeling that this wasn't necessarily their brand, doing a show like this, even if it had Game of Thrones type of energy to it. And the question becomes, what's going to be the energy of the Wonder Woman movie versus the Themyscera show, rather? Would the Themyscera show be a Game of Thrones and the Wonder Woman is a little bit more of a relaxed, playful type of approach to it with the smirk? Still stakes, obviously, but with a little bit more smirk in it. And would that have lined up? Would that have been the Batman Part 2 versus Superman? Would that have been a kind of feeling around all of this? So I'm very curious, because I just heard the news today. From pretty good sources, by the way, pretty well-connected sources reached out to me and texted this. And so my question becomes, like, I wonder what the reasons are, real reasons are, why they're shutting this thing down. It could also be an economic situation here, Shannon. We know Netflix is buying Warner Brothers, and clearly from that circus show we saw a few days ago with Ted Cruz, or yesterday, or 2 days ago with Ted Cruz asking those ridiculous questions of Ted Sarandos, like, nothing's going to stop this from going forward. Like, Ellison coming out pitching, I guarantee 30 movies a year, when next year's slate or this year's slate looks like dog shit, and so this is the thing that you see. It seems very clear that Netflix is going to take over Warner Brothers. So maybe they're already cutting certain shows. They're already cutting certain commitments, because those commitments were made when Warner Brothers was not up for sale or bought or purchased. So there's going to be changes, and seems like they're looking at this going, I don't see the logic of it. Kill it. We don't need it.
Well, and also, I mean, something else that you can consider is when you're looking at characters that have the potential to leap between the small screen and the big screen, what is the most prominent example of that, and that's
Yeah.
the MCU.
Yes, MCU. Yeah.
Now, when we were in the age of COVID and WandaVision came out, then Falcon Winter Soldier, then Loki,
Right.
then Hawkeye,
Right.
that was programming that we really needed.
Yeah.
Because there just wasn't anything else. There was, we couldn't go to the movies. I mean, we were stuck at home for a lot. But I think the further you got down that road, you started to see the challenge of maintaining the enthusiasm for your films, which really are the breadwinners, versus having a bunch of shows that the audience starts to feel as homework. Now, granted, there are other things to discuss within that. Like I think that first 4 batch of Disney Plus shows, I think they were great. Even Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier was literally was affected by COVID. But you look at WandaVision, you look at Loki, you look at Hawkeye. I mean, like those shows turned out really, really great. And the more that they were trying to pump stuff out, you started to get that law of diminishing returns. You you hit some high notes in Miss Marvel. Not the whole series. I think it's a bit. There's some peaks and valleys in it. And then you hit some real low notes with Secret Invasion. So I think perhaps maybe they were looking at that, being like, maybe this is more trouble than it's worth. Like we have some shows that are in the can right now with Peacemaker season 2, with Lanterns, but maybe television isn't necessarily where this needs to live. Maybe we should just focus on the movies before our big machine fully gets moving, because there are going to be the folks out there that like Superman underperformed, and whether it did or whether it didn't, the fact of the matter is that the universe is moving forward. I think you get 3 or 4 movies in, and if they continue to underperform, perhaps maybe that's when they reevaluate, and maybe it's like, hey, maybe we should not be focusing so much creative energy on these series. Let's really focus on these movies. Again, this is complete conjecture on my part. I could 100% be incorrect.
But you're also, you're in the business. You talk to people. We know executives. We know junior executives. We know people who are, in the chain of stuff like this. Maybe not necessarily DC fully, but like other things. So we know how the town works. And we know that like you can have all the plans you want. You can have all the big dreams and big ideas and big aspirations you want. But the reality is things change all the time, and the public hasn't a say in that, right? And the drumbeat that has been steadily getting louder and louder since Superman is, where is my Batman? Where is my Wonder Woman in this James Gunn DCU? There's all kinds of rumors that Man of Tomorrow is going to have a cameo of Wonder Woman or a cameo of Batman or both. So there's that kind of element, and you see that's growing. And I know James Gunn said recently that he's not going to have his Batman come out in the same year as the Batman, then tried to backtrack that a little bit, which I thought was a little weird. But like in the end, we're not going to see his Batman fully in a movie until after the Batman Part 2. It's clearly what he said, unless they're going to shoot something really quick this year and get it out. It doesn't make any sense. So we've got a little ways to wait. And I think with Wonder Woman, it's been pretty clear that they are wanting to put that in motion. Quite a lot of scoopers have revealed that is very much on the fast track. So I figured probably they looked at this and were like, if we're focusing on Wonder Woman, why are we even trying to do a Themyscera show? Let's focus on one thing. And then if people like our Wonder Woman, and maybe we can introduce some characters that will be connected to the Themyscera show, then we can go that route, or introduce some mythology in the Wonder Woman movie that people will want to explore in the Themyscera show. That makes more sense down the road. But again, with the Netflix purchase, dude, it's like someone came in and just flipped your chessboard. It's basically what happened. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that, from what I'm hearing from my sources, the Paradise Lost show is dead and not in active development anymore. And we'll see what happens. It doesn't mean they can't revisit it down the road, but it certainly is what I'm being told, is that and what they've been told, because they were meeting with some pretty strong writers, by the way. But we've been told that it's dead. So there you go. All right, that's the DC news there. I hope it was worth it for you all. Little news about what's going on in the world of DC. Some of you might have been looking forward to that show. Well, let's hit some quick Streamlabs or Super Chats rather before we move on to the next topic here. Shannon, Cowboys fans says, let's go, guys. Quick support for you guys. Ironically, about to be off to go to a concert. I, too, recently got teeth issues taken care of. LOL. Okay, thank you, Cowboy. Josh Duckwall says, evening, John and Shannon. Happy Friday. Just want to send in some support. Have a great weekend. I can't wait for the Super Bowl. Me too, Josh, on Sunday. Shannon, are you even watching the Super Bowl? Do you have a party at a certain somebody's house in the hills? What's going on?
I am working this Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
I will have the Super Bowl of handling dinosaurs on Sunday. Though some folks on one of our friends group threads was talking about the fact that there had not been an announcement as of yet for a big Super Bowl party. Not as of yet. Or maybe we were all just left off that list.
Oh,
things happen. I don't know.
Oh, we'll see. We'll find out. I'm staying on.
It affected me not at all.
Yeah, me either. I'm going to be going live for the Super Bowl on Sunday, so you guys can hang out at this channel with me and watch the commercials and the game with me. Cooley High says, John, thank you for always speaking out against the ignorance on X. After seeing Trump make that racist post, I've never been so angry. I know this is not the place, but I appreciate you. All love. Yeah, I appreciate that, Cooley. Certainly not the place for us to talk about. This is more about geek stuff, nerd stuff going on. But thank you, Cooley, for the very kind message, very kind support. And, I'm never going to keep my mouth shut no matter what for this kinds of stuff. So, and it's good to see other people stepping forward and stepping up finally and talking out about it as well. KJ74 says, to date, who is your favorite actor to portray Batman? Ooh, great question, Shannon. Who is your favorite actor to play Batman? Ooh, to date.
All of them have good aspects.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton was a great Bruce Wayne. He was a great introduction to the big screen version of the Dark Knights. Val Kilmer, some people really do like Val Kilmer's portrayal of Bruce Wayne. It never made sense to me. Even when he was announced, I was like, this doesn't make sense. George Clooney, to me, made less sense.
Right.
So to me, they were getting it wrong. Then Christian Bale comes in. And I think if I had enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises more.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a big fan of that movie. I think if I had enjoyed that movie more and take out his, I probably would have gone with Christian Bale. I think Ben Affleck as Batman / Bruce Wayne, that is one of Ben Affleck's, in my opinion, speaking of Batman v Superman, not Justice League. I think that is one of Ben Affleck's best performances, and he is severely miscast. Yeah. I think Ben Affleck has an inherent blue collarness that is not Bruce Wayne. That Bruce Wayne is a white collar guy. Now, granted, when he puts on the cape and cowl, that's a different situation. Right. And what we've seen thus far of Pattinson, I've liked. And I think we're just kind of scratching the surface with Pattinson. I love the fact that they're leaning into he's pale. Like the dude doesn't come out during the sun because he's sleeping all day from getting his ass whooped the night before. So of those, I would probably go Christian Bale.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think we've had a series of good Bruce Waynes and good Batmans, but rarely have we seen a good Bruce Wayne and a good Batman. And I think Christian Bale is the one who takes a lot from column A and a lot from column B. So I agree with you, because I think Ben Affleck's Batman, and if you're acting that specifically, KJ, to portray Batman, so Batman specifically, not Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck is my number one choice. From that I just loved him as Batman. I sometimes will watch YouTube videos that are compilations of all his scenes as Batmans. That's my Batman. The bigger Dark Knight kind of Rises or Dark Knight Returns kind of Batman. That's my Batman. And so I think he nails the Batman. But overall, Bruce Wayne / Batman, Christian Bale is the answer. I just think he's a great Bruce Wayne and he's a great Batman. And what you said so perfectly, Shannon, he radiates the white collar stuff. Like, you've got to understand, this is a rich Nepo baby boy. He is not, he can radiate some of the blue collar stuff, but he is overall a white collar guy. So you have to have that little bit of believability that he can roam with the intelligentsia, with the, he can hobnob with the rich folks, the wealthy folks in Gotham. And I never bought that about Affleck as Bruce Wayne. So yeah, that's the truth overall. And I know a lot of people love Keaton, but I never thought his Batman was as great as his Bruce Wayne. So that's where I land with him. Kilmer, fine, I guess. Clooney had a real shot. It just was in a shit movie and it didn't work out. But of course, Kevin Conroy is the answer behind the mic for everybody, I believe. So yeah,
that is a great suggestion, Johnny. Also, oh my gosh, Captain Pike from Star Trek, Bruce.
Bruce Greenwood, yes,
Bruce Greenwood. He voiced Batman, Bruce Wayne for a series of those DC animated films, and he did a really good job. And also to Arthur, who said Batman does not get his ass whooped, McClung. I will rephrase from taking a beating. Because even though he is coming out on top, he is not escaping those fights with no damage.
That's true. That's very, very true. Okay. KJ also says, what TV shows do you enjoy watching with your significant other? Well, we just finished up with the lady and I watching Ponies, which we really enjoyed on Peacock. And then we just finished Physical Asia 100 on Netflix. Highly, highly recommend that show. If you like physical competition shows, they've taken 6 or 7 person teams from every country in Asia, and they battle in this tournament of games to see which team is the strongest team in the strongest country in all of Asia, including Australia is involved in this. But you have Mongolia, the Philippines, Japan, Korea, all these people involved in it. It's really a fascinating show. And so, yeah, those are the things we're watching right now. Shannon, what are you watching right now?
Currently, we are watching The Pit. We are watching The Pit.
Of course.
But that was the best of a good situation, because a lot of times, and John can speak to this, if you book a role on a television show, you book a role in a film, your significant other is 100% going to watch that show.
Yeah, true.
When they want to continue watching the show after that.
That's
always a point of pride, is to be like, oh, okay. And for me as well. I mean, I love when I get to pop up on a show that I would watch anyways. But we're currently watching The Pits. We are watching the 3rd season of Shrinking, which is outstanding. And because we all have our guilty pleasures in terms of reality shows. My wife is a big reality show fan. She got me into the Below Deck franchise on Bravo.
You're an addict.
I think we started watching Down Under. Like, the captain's an Australian guy, and I was like, oh, this guy's great. And then our friends Rick and Rebecca Messina, they told us about Below Deck Sailing Yacht, which was just into its 3rd season. They're like, this love triangle that happens over 3 seasons. Rick is a casting director out here in Hollywood. He's like, no one can write something this good. And so my wife and I, for about 3 weeks, we were just burning through 3 seasons of Below Deck Sailing Yacht, and it was so good.
All right, there you go. That's our answers to your question. Thank you, KJ. We'll answer some more questions on the next time we stop the show. Let's move on to some more stories here, Shannon. Let's move on to this one. According to my brother there, Daniel RPK, Wonder Man Season 2 is apparently on deck. It is about to be greenlit, and they're putting this in motion. Quite a turnaround for a show that people felt Disney was going to dump and not have too much faith over it. But no, it looks like it's happening. Wonder Man Season 2, according to Daniel RPK, is very close to being greenlit here by Marvel Studios and Disney. So are you surprised by any of this, Shannon? Or this seems pretty much a no-brainer. And does this mean, if they are going to split this thing into two movies, Secret Wars, that we're going to see Wonder Man have a little more of a prevalent role in these films than we may have anticipated initially?
Man, I don't know. Like, I did not think this was a no-brainer by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
Because as we were talking a few weeks ago, it's like, this is a holdover from a previous idea that they were going in one direction, and they made a pivot based off of a bunch of factors. And so it's like, I don't know if the show is going to be good. I don't know if the show is going to be bad, but I don't know if there is necessarily a use for Simon Williams with where they are going.
Right.
But based off of the reception that it has received, To me, this is the best of a potentially bad situation in that, we like these two characters together, and we really like this guy. So whether or not the second season is just Simon and Trevor trying to make it in Hollywood while simultaneously being on the run from the Department of Damage Control, or if Simon Williams gets introduced into that larger MCU, either one is great. I mean, I think the thing that was a strength for the show was its simplicity. I'm really surprised that it resonated with folks outside of show business, because the show was so inside baseball. I mean, there were so many things, like, the arduous task of finding a quiet place to tape when you've only got an hour. I've got to upload this thing. I mean, the fact that it did resonate, I think, has less to do with its Hollywood connection and more to do with the chemistry that Yahya Abdul-Mateen had with Ben Kingsley. So I'm thrilled that it's potentially going to get a second season, and I'm even more thrilled that Simon Williams potentially will be involved in the MCU. I mean, I don't know if he's going to pop up in Doomsday, because it seemed like this was kind of this. I mean, this was done. But seeing how Secret Wars, like, I've read those rumors that it's potentially going to be broken into two parts. If there's room for him where he can be used in any sort of, it doesn't have to be a significant capacity, because there's so many people, like, you don't know how many of them will be doing something significant. But if there is a use for him where it's not just him popping up, like, you want to see him do something, I really hope they use it, because I really like him as an actor.
Yeah, I do too. And I think this is a great thing if it happens, season 2. Now you got to be like, were there plans for a season 2? Do you have material to write out that is going to be as touching and moving, as funny, as poignant, as interesting, as cool as season 1? That's the question that comes out now, because you know that, Shannon. Sometimes people get shocked that a first season comes out and it becomes a hit, and they're like, well, we got to scramble to get a second season. We just saw that with Shogun. There was no plans to have a second season of Shogun. Now they're going off the source material, like they're going away from the source material, because there is no sequel to Shogun that James Clavell wrote. So they are concocting a sequel based on historical events that happened during this time in Japan, and creating a narrative around it and adding all this fictional stuff combined with real life stuff to make it work. Going to be fascinating to see if the season 2 is as good as season 1. Will that happen with Wonder Man? And we know this, Shannon, as we saw with Wakanda Forever, sometimes if you're greenlit for a new project or a sequel or a second season or third season, how much heavy lifting does your show have to do to connect up to the overall MCU? Because one of the gifts of season 1, Shannon, was that it didn't have a lot to do with the overall MCU. It was its own thing. These guys in their relationship, yes, we know Terrence Slattery had a role in the MCU with Iron Man 3, with Shang-Chi, but he seemed very ground-based in the whole season. Yes, there was the department of whatever the department. I always forget the name of the department.
Damage control.
Right. DODC. There was the department there, but that was never really a massive thing in the MCU. So you could play around with it being ground level. Now you see you've got a second season. Where do we go from this? And it certainly says something that of all the shows, I think aside from Loki, this is the first Disney Plus show that is getting a second season. Am I wrong on this, Shannon? Aside from, I guess, What If? Yeah. Am I wrong on this?
I don't think you're wrong. I think, I think so. I mean, there have been shows that they've talked about, like Hawkeye season 2.
Hawkeye season 2, right.
But this is the first one we've heard that is potentially actively in development.
Yeah. I want to see what they do with it. I want to see where they go with it and how it connects up. And we know, Shannon, from the comics, that Wonder Man becomes like an essential part of West Coast Avengers. So are we now starting to move the ball a little forward towards West Coast Avengers? We're about to get a Vision Quest show. Does Vision show up in season 2 of Wonder Man? Does Hawkeye show up in season 2 of Wonder Man? Hawkeye is also part of the West Coast Avengers. So are we open? Does Wanda show up in season 2 of Wonder Man now that he's embraced his powers? And certainly considering the fact that what happens at the end, I'm not going to spoil it for those who maybe catching up. What he does at the end in a certain facility, that's got to have ramifications, right? So where's that going to take us? So there's a lot of things to play around with if you open the door to a season 2. So we will see with all of that. All right, let's move on to this story, Shannon. I got to get your thoughts on this, man. It came out yesterday. Big news. Boris Kitt over there at Hollywood Reporter broke this, but Dan Trachtenberg has signed a deal with Paramount. I think it's a 3-year deal with Paramount, where he will be. It will be a first look deal with Paramount here. He will have that a directing and producing deal with the studio. And he will develop, direct, and produce feature projects with his producing partner, Ben Rosenblatt. This marks a return to the Melrose lot for Trachtenberg, who made his feature debut with 2016's 10 Cloverfield Lane for Paramount. That is 10 years old, Shannon. That's how long it has been since that film came out. And it's the latest big-name filmmaker deal for the David Ellison-owned Paramount, which is headed by co-chairs Josh Greenstein and Dana Goldberg. But now the question becomes, as you see there on the screen, what happens to Predator? We just had an amazing run from Prey to, Killer of the animated one? It was fantastic.
Was it Killer of Killers?
Killer of Killers. And then...
Is that it?
I think so. And then Predator Badlands. So are we is this going to open the door to Dan Trachtenberg leaving Predator, or being that Steven Spielberg executive producer of Transformers movie? Is this the role he's going into? Will other people slide in to take over Predator? And does this mean that it's not going to be that great? Like, what are your thoughts on all this when you hear the news and you hear the story?
Well, I mean, just because you have a first look deal doesn't mean you're not allowed to do anything anyplace else. Like, that's why, like, first look, if you're developing a project, they have the first right of refusal. Like, I don't know what the exclusivity clause. I mean, there could be an exclusivity clause where you are only working for us. That's I've heard of that, but I've also heard the other situation of where you have a first look deal with this studio. Anything that you want to develop, we get first right of refusal. Right. But also because Paramount does have some significant IP, and you look at Dan Trachtenberg's body of work, starting with his Portal short that he made, going to Predator. Trachtenberg seems to be a genre guy. Yeah. And I love that directors are now in a place to where it's like, you know what? I just want to work on the stuff that I liked as a kid. I just want to work, you always hear about these stories about like, hey, they made this big action movie. Now they're going to go make their serious drama. It's like, yeah, some people don't want to do that. I mean, right. They just want to go and play in this, kind of larger than life sandbox. So when you look at the IP that Paramount does have, it's like, man, does he want? Yep, Jeremiah Wise got to it first. I was like, does he want to play in the Star Trek universe? Does he want to play in the Transformers universe? Does he want to play in the G.I. Joe universe? Does he want to go? Like, I could see him being a fit for, like, if they wanted to give Minority Report another crack, because they did the feature, but then they also did the television series. So there are so many things that he could go into, and Paramount, even though sure seems like they're not getting Warner Brothers, they're not lacking for intellectual property. Again, what that means for Predator, I don't know. I think that will probably be up to the folks over at Disney. I mean, are they going to get their feelings hurt that this guy took a deal someplace else? Maybe. I mean, Predator Badlands, was a great movie. It was not such a runaway hit that they're like, we have to hold on to him. Like, they certainly see that he has injected new life into this franchise. Yeah, that's an excellent point you make, Shannon, because I mean, I'm so connected in my mind to him being successful with Prey, with Killer of Killers, with Badlands, that in my mind, I'm like, he's been amazing in revitalizing the property. Yes, he has. But Predator Badlands didn't make $500 million, right? It made like 150 or whatever. I'll look it up in a second, but
it didn't blow the doors off the box office, but it did well for a Predator movie. I think it was the highest grossing Predator movie. So that's a positive. But it still isn't playing with the big boys, right? And as you said, if he moves over with this move over to Paramount, rather, if he looks at the IP that's there at Paramount, Jeff suggested last night that World War Z could be a possibility. Finally doing World War Z. Like I said, I don't know if you bring back Brad Pitt, is a little long in the tooth to jump into something like this, but coming out of F1, that was a super successful film. Do you want to take advantage of that? Get Brad Pitt, line him up for an F1 or a World War Z sequel directed by Jan Trachtenberg. That's interesting. Daly and Goldstein are doing Star Trek, so I really doubt they'd bring in another director before they get their hands to do something on it. But he has shown that he can slide into, as you said, to these IPs and do well. Other than Portal, his first thing out the gate, he's done episodes of what? Black Mirror, The Boys. He did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was already established by JJ. The Lost Symbol, the Dan Brown show. He did one episode of that. Then Prey, Killer Kills Balin, which is all already an established franchise. Joseph Kaczynski is really busy. Is Top Gun a possibility? A Dan Trachtenberg Top Gun movie written by probably McQuarrie with Trachtenberg involved in some of the writing as well. That could be super interesting. But after being in charge of a franchise like Predator, being the showrunner, essentially the runner of the whole thing, not just showrunner, but overall, my feeling is that he'll move into something that he can like start from scratch and not a franchise that's already happened. So yeah, I think the World War Z makes sense because there's not much going on, but it could be something original. Maybe him and Rosenblatt have some projects that they've been kicking around for quite some time, waiting for the right studio to be able to launch them at. And this is where he goes. And as you said, maybe he's carved out something in the deal that allows him to keep being executive producer of the Predator franchise for Paramount, or sorry, for Hulu Disney, and then moves on, but still work here at Paramount. But I don't know, man. It seems like running two franchises is a lot to ask of anyone. Shannon,
yeah,
you know.
But you're not necessarily running it. I mean, it's the Spielberg being the EP of Transformers, being the EP of Men in Black. Like, how creatively involved was Spielberg with both of those franchises?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
He's reading stuff. The one that I think about, and I don't know, I don't know if he would even be a fan of it, right. But growing up, because I think he's about our age. I could see him wanting to take a crack at G.I. Joe. Like,
I agree with you 100%.
Like that's,
yeah.
There is something there. I mean, obviously there are mixed feelings globally about the American military. But that's true. There a way, like what Stephen Sommers tried to do, and in my opinion, ultimately didn't succeed, trying to make it more of a, what did the acronym stand for in that? Globally Integrated Joint Operations Entity.
Wow.
Which when you're coming up with acronyms like that, that movie was not good. I don't disagree. Channing Tatum,
it was not good. Yeah.
Massively miscast.
Yes.
Most of the Oh, hello, honey.
Oh, hello. Hi, Shani.
Rocha said hi. Well, she made me a good one.
Yeah, look at that. I was gonna say, the fact that you can still remember the acronym, you have not drunk enough. So
don't worry, I'm gonna be okay. She pours a little lighter than I do.
Her hand's not as heavy in the pour.
It is not. She did put in the 3 espresso beans though, which they're visually very pretty, but I hate it because I always end up sucking one into my mouth. But no, I feel like G.I. Joe might be a fit. I mean, I think there is a way to crack that, and seeing what he was able to do with Predator, I'd be curious. But also Predator, those are smaller movies. I mean, and G.I. Joe would probably have to be pretty big.
Yeah. And from what I'm, how can I say this and walk delicately into the minefield? I have heard that there is movement on G.I. Joe, but I can't say anything about it right now. But I've heard from a source that there is movement on G.I. Joe. But I don't know if Trachtenberg signing this deal changes the trajectory of that. I don't know, because I agree with you. I think you hand him G.I. Joe right effing now, and let's tell the truth here. I'm not trying to piss anyone off or get too political, but we know that Paramount has a very strong connection through the Allisons to Trump, to the military, to the American military. They want to push red state ideas, and one of the big red state ideas is love for the military. It's not exclusive to the red state. Blue state people love the military. I served in the military 8 years in the Army. We love the military. We love the military. Great. But like the idea of, as you said, Shannon, repairing the image of the American soldier through a fantastical means like G.I. Joe would make a lot of sense. Dan Trachtenberg has shown us in those Predator movies that he can tell a pretty hard story, has some strong ground-based fight, hand-to-hand fight action, and still affect people and bring in almost the 4 quadrants to enjoy his films. So, I mean, there's some great fights, animated fights in Killer of Killers. There's some damn good fights in Predator Badlands, damn good fights in Prey. So why wouldn't he? And he's able to write strong female and male characters. So to me, this makes all the sense. This is a no-brainer to hand him G.I. Joe to revitalize as a franchise, because as you said, the attempts at movies have been terrible, in my opinion, pretty terrible movies. So
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be interesting to see what he would do with the G.I. Joe situation. So,
yeah. And it's not an easy one to crack. I mean, you know, when Vogel
it really
was working at Hasbro, he would often talk about like it's a high priority. It was a high priority for the studio when he was there, but it was also a very challenging endeavor just because of the American military stigma.
Right.
Yeah, I had a joke.
Okay,
but I didn't want to interrupt you. When you said that there was movement on G.I. Joe, and you know, is it going G.I. slow?
Oh boy.
It would have been really, really a lot funnier 2 minutes ago.
GI no. How about that? GI no.
GI whoa.
GI whoa. So we'll see. But the Predator thing is, if he does move off of Predator as the creative force behind it, I think that's a huge loss. But as you said, the man's got to, you know, he's got to bit that smaller potatoes for where he could go. And this is the business. Once you show you can do something on a certain level, the next level comes calling, you know? And so maybe this is where we're moving on with Dan Trachtenberg so we can enjoy these Predator movies. And maybe another young, hungry creator slides into the Predator franchise and gives it a whole new voice, building on what Trachtenberg already laid. So we'll see with all of that. Someone said, Bambo says, okay, I was in the Real Rejects room and someone said they were diagnosed with terminal leukemia, and I've been looking for her ever since. Okay, I don't know what that
gosh.
But okay. Heart goes out to anybody who's dealing with that for sure. Oh yeah, Mission Impossible. If you're gonna read that, could be a possibility. I hadn't even thought about that. Tom Cruise, I think, is done.
Or would it be an impossibility?
Oh boy. I mean, that's a possibility. Revitalizing Mission Impossible. That could be a possibility as well. We'll see. All right. Let's see. We'll get one more. Let's get some trailers, Shannon, and we'll get some questions after that. So send in your Streamlabs and super chats as we go along. Shannon, I don't think I have thumbnails for all the trailers. So do you want to take it or do you want me to take it and pop up the thumbnails?
No, I can take it.
Okay, go ahead. What's your first one? Let me know ahead of time.
You've been working hard. Young
Thank
Sherlock.
You. Oh boy. All right, hold on a second. I gotta find it. Why don't we answer a question while I find these?
Let's answer some questions.
Yeah, let's answer a question here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Jay Scotty for real says, little love for going live on a Friday. Thank you, Jay Scotty. Which of your fandoms will your partners have nothing to do with or suffer through versus which ones won them over? Ooh, a great question. Shannon, I think you can take this while I find the thumbnails for our conversations. Go ahead. Yes.
I can take this. So my wife currently will not go near anything Game of Thrones, anything Westeros.
Okay.
We started dating, I think it was right in the last season or right after the last season.
Okay.
She had told me that she started watching it. She had
Right.
watched the first couple of seasons, but because of the space in between each season, and a lot of those names can sound similar, she's just like, this is too much. I'm gonna hop off this.
Oh, wow.
So even though I was just kind of like, hey, the show is really good up until the last season, she's like, why would I, if it's going to be a disappointing ending, why even hop on the train? So when House of the Dragon came out, I was trying to convince her, like, it's pretty good. You want to give it a try? Still, no. Now with A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I'm like, this is a half-hour show. It is a much smaller story. It's pretty good. So she has not acquiesced yet.
Okay.
But we're getting there.
Okay.
And in general, superhero stuff is not necessarily her bag. Right. I did get her, like, she'll pretty much go see most Marvel movies with me.
Okay.
I did get her onto Damon Lindelof's Watchmen. And
wow.
She ended up like not really knowing much about the 80s, the comic, or the Zack Snyder version. I kind of gave her a quick kind of like, here's roughly what you need to know.
Right.
By the end of that, she was very into that show, and that is what motivated her to try Wonder Man, because of Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Oh yeah. Okay. So she enjoyed that.
Yeah, she liked Watchmen a lot.
Oh, good. Yeah, Watchmen I think is one of those like entry points for the intelligent. Right? Like there's so much commentary about what's going on in our world, and then the historical nature of racial dynamics in our world, and also the haves and the have-nots. And then there's still that kind of metaphysical, scientific kind of conversation going on. So it makes a lot of sense that Watchmen would be a great entry point. I will tell you this, Lady Outlaw, also not a fan of superhero shows. It was a struggle for her to do that the Marvel watch-alongs that we did for I think 2 years, and she has never clamored to go back to it at all, but certainly I think she would be excited to. I think Watchmen is the one that she has kind of talked to me about, because NPR did a thing on it, and she was like, oh well, if NPR is covering it, I might give this thing a little bit of a thing. But I don't share hardly any fandoms with the Lady Outlaw. Honestly, she's not a DC person. She's not a Marvel person. She's not a Star Wars person. The only fandoms we have are Traitors, British shows. We loved Hijack. But yeah, I don't know. There's not that many franchises that her and I cross over necessarily that I could get her into, which is kind of a good thing, because we each have she's a big RuPaul person. I don't mind watching the occasional RuPaul episode, but it's not really my thing, because I just don't. She's deep in that culture. She loves that culture. I'm not, so I get lost sometimes. Although Alyssa Edwards is my girl, but I get lost sometimes, So, but yeah, we don't have, which I think is a good thing, honestly, because there's some things we can share and some things we don't have to share, and we each get our separate kind of thing on that. Well,
did you two watch Seven Dials on Netflix?
Agatha
Christie.
She watched it. I did not get around to it, but but she said it's good, so I've got to watch it, because I like Agatha Christie stuff as well.
Shani and I watched that one, and I did get her to watch the first episode of Ponies. I've been waiting for her so we can watch the show, because I know you and Gabe said you both really enjoyed it.
It's so good. It is so good, Ponies. Yeah, that's the one on Netflix on Peacock that people should watch for sure.
And also, because I don't know if we've ever said this on a show, I feel like we should. I wish Mikey were here. But our audience knows, and you all, if this joke is too eye rolly, please feel free to let us know in the comments. For when John was portraying his character, the outlaw, in the Schmodown, and then when he met his lady and started calling her the Lady Outlaw, I think I said this privately first before I said it in front of people. I was like the goal that was right there, that you could have called her Misdemeanor instead of Lady Outlaw. That the Outlaw and Misdemeanor. To this day, whenever you say the Lady Outlaw, if I'm listening to you and Steve on Cinephiles, you say Lady Outlaw, I'm like, Misdemeanor. It is always auto-correcting in my head. misdemeanor.
Oh man, I think if she'd been, how can I say this? I think if she had been like in the show, misdemeanor would make a lot of sense, right? But the Lady Outlaw was a way of like, she's connected to me and we do our own thing. But yeah, that would have been a weird one to do misdemeanor if she wasn't in the show. So, but that's a fair point. I like that one as a possibility for sure. Are there any fandoms that Shani's trying to get you into that you're not a big fan of? Like, is there anything you've tried out and be like, nah, I'm not going to do that?
No, she will never try. She will never try to get me into any of her reality shows.
Oh, really?
I mean, Below Deck is the only one that I happen to catch.
Right.
Whenever she, like, if I come home and she's watching something on television, she will always hand me the remote. Be like, all right, you can take over. Now, yes. I can take over with some caveats. I mean, it's not like I'm not given free reign. But watching Below Deck, I think because the thing that I found interesting is it's really about the crew. It's about the crew having to cater to these rich assholes.
Yeah.
And the crew, granted, the crew are all like supermodel beautiful. But they all seem like regular people. And, they're from all over the globe. I just, whenever she's watching like The Real Housewives or 90 Day Fiance, that's one that I will sit down and I will marvel at the following that this has. I will feel like I'm getting punched in the brain.
Yeah.
But then she'll be like, do you want to turn the channel? I'm like, hey, hold on. We'll see how this turns out.
I've discovered that she's that way about Love is Blind. Like, if I start she does not want to watch it. But if I start a season, she will get sucked in and she'll hate herself for it. So I have to be careful. It's like cookies for her, like certain cookies. Like, she will finish the whole fucking pack, even though she didn't want to, right? And so it's that thing with Love is Blind. Like, I'm a mad addict to Love is Blind. Like, I've watched Sweden. I haven't watched the Japan one, but I've watched the hijab one. I watched the Mexico one. I watched the England one, the UK one rather. And of course, I've watched about 7 or 8 seasons of the current one.
Wow.
And there's a new one coming on 5 days on February 11th. I just think it's fascinating as an older man watching that show, looking at the stupidity that I thought when I was in my 20s about relationships and love and romance and all that kind of shit. It's fascinating. And it challenges you because you're like, I need to be more like understanding of these people and less critical of these people, even though they're making utter asses of themselves. So it's that kind of thing that I'm combating all the time when I'm watching those shows. So yeah, those are the things that, but like you, she rarely tries to get me in anything other than it's British stuff. She's always trying to get me into British mysteries, but I don't always gravitate to that kind of stuff for sure. So, yeah.
Gabe did get Shani and I into the Traders.
Traders. Yeah. She got me into Traders. Yeah.
Shani was watching, I think, the first season of the American version, and it's all reality people. And I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Right. Yeah. Some celebrities.
And Gabe and Shani were talking about it at a party, and Gabe's just you have to give the British version where it's regular people, give that a try.
Mm-hmm.
Shani watched the first season, loved it. I was kind of like watching with one eye. I'm like, I don't care. It's the second season with the guy who ended up winning. That was fantastic to watch. I was like, oh, this is really well made TV. And then we watched the English celebrity version.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of talking themselves out of picking the right people was shocking. I mean, shocking.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The most recent season, I was slamming my head through a wall at how much they thought they were so right and they were so wrong almost every week. And I was to the point where I was like, kill them all. Like, I was cheering for the killers like halfway through the season because they're all such dunces. And these are like incredibly well-accomplished people in their chosen fields as actors. Like Stephen Fry was one of the people that was on the show, and he kept fucking up all over the place. And he's one of the most intelligent dudes on the planet. If you watch any of his shows, he's so fucking smart. So I was like, how the hell? But then I remember, and we'll get back to the show. We'll get back to our topic.
Sorry for the digression.
But for those of you who don't know, we have played a version of traitors in our group of friends, our 70 plus group of friends. We played this for years, and we have some luminaries who have been part of our group of friends who have played in it, with some Hollywood directors. I'm not going to name the person, but some Hollywood directors who have been part of our group of friends. And these are supremely intelligent people. And the emotional anger and explosions and frustrations, but also the outthinking themselves out of a situation when they thought they were right. Man, it's fascinating. So when I was watching, I had to say to myself, well, look, in real life, you've experienced this, where extremely intelligent people that you're friends with have talked themselves out of these answers. So it's true. Traitors is a very interesting conversation about human beings, for God's sake. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, there we go.
Anyway.
All right. Yes. Anyway. let's move on to some more. Wait, what trailer you want to jump into, bro? Which one do you want to jump into first? This one? Is that what you said?
Let's do Young Sherlock. Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. The official trailer dropped. Yes.
All right. So we get the second trailers, because it's a happy hour. We got 4 of them. We'll see if I can make it to the 4th.
Yeah.
We got the second look at Young Sherlock. Again, this is from Guy Ritchie, famed director of The Gentleman and also the big screen Sherlock Holmes, starring Robert Downey Jr. This seems to be no connection to that. This is just a different version. This is one that it seems like, okay, Sherlock was not always the great detective. He was a bit of a reprobate way back in the day, and he met a fella at school that he became friends with named James Moriarty.
Yeah.
Again, this trailer just kind of scratched me where I itch, and it shocks me that my fellow Anglophile to my right was not as taken with this based off of the teaser. But again, I am really into this. I mean, I think we have some great potential villains that we didn't get to see in the teaser. But I'll throw it over to Johnny. What did you think of our second look at Young Sherlock?
Well, I have to say to you, this one sold me, because the teaser was a little lightweight. Felt like something Guy Ritchie does on a weekend just to kind of get paid and pay Madonna off the child support. I don't know what the situation is there, but like it just didn't feel like I got the full Guy Ritchie feeling. This was a completely different experience. I thought there was much more to enjoy here. Colin Firth was the star of this trailer, in my opinion. I'm very excited to see his role in all of this. And this feels like a much bigger story, because I am one of those guys that was a massive fan of Young Sherlock Holmes in the 80s. Like, it was one of those films that I championed whenever I talked to my friends about movies. Have you seen this film? And I felt like the outsider, because a lot of my friends weren't into Sherlock Holmes and weren't really less into a young Sherlock Holmes. But I thought Nicholas Rowe was great. In fact, I got his autograph when I went to see him in Hamlet, the production that Ray Fiennes did in New York back in the 90s. Because I told him how much I loved Young Sherlock. So I was excited for this. Teaser didn't work. This trailer worked. Loved where it's going. Love the stakes that are here. Certainly there's been money spent on this production, which I think excites me on so many levels as well. So I came out of this one much more excited. The Moriarty stuff is good. I like who's playing Irene Adler as a change of pace. So I'm much more excited about it coming out of this official trailer than I was coming out of the teaser. As you said, I was not that excited for the teaser.
Yeah, we also get peeks at other famous characters like Sherlock's older brother, Mycroft. We get a peek of the actor playing Sherlock's. I don't know if it's his dad, his uncle, but I think we get a little peek at Joseph Fiennes in this as well. Right. This seems like a rollicking mystery solving good time. It starts on Amazon Prime March 4th. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in March. Yes. Specifically in the first week, because 2 days later on Netflix, we get War Machine starring Alan Ritchson. So, when we're talking about what we're going to do for the show, when it comes to trailers, I generally find most of them, but every once in a while, Vogel will send one, Johnny will send one. Yeah. Johnny sends the screenshot of this. Like, what do you think about this? And I see Alan Ritchson in camo. and the title is War Machine, I'm kind of like, I like watching him beat people up on Reacher. Anytime he has to deliver dialogue, though, it feels like nails down a chalkboard. But I click on this trailer and it's like, okay, here's Alan Ritchson. He's in the armed services. He's getting in shape. And then this trailer takes a sharp right turn into sci-fi land, which I was totally here for. Alan Ritchson and his platoon, they find something that looks potentially like an alien ship. That alien ship looks like it turns into a giant robot and starts to stalk these U.S. Servicemen. This is directed by Patrick Hughes, which if you are not familiar with that name, he also directed the Hitman's Bodyguard's wife.
Ooh. Oh,
and maybe the Hitman's Bodyguard as well. And he also did the Expendables 3. So take that as how you want to take that. But Johnny, I'll throw it over to you. What did you think of our first look at War Machine?
Well, first of all, I was confused because Netflix did a War Machine movie back in 2017 with Brad Pitt. So why are we doing another War Machine movie? Have we recycled titles? Have we hit a 5-year window where titles can be recycled? So it's odd, especially on the same streaming service as Netflix. But that being said, this looks fucking incredible. Like a lot of fun. The perfect Netflix movie to watch. You're right about bringing up Patrick Hughes' previous work, not necessarily the most stellar work, but it's also been a while, right? Since we've seen Patrick. So maybe he's changed, aged a little bit, gotten better, because a lot of the scenes I see in this movie are fucking badass. And I like the energy that he's bringing. This is where Alan Ritchson lives, right? Giving a guy this big, an insurmountable enemy, and seeing what he can do with it. In every season of Reacher, you have to create a really good villain in order to showcase the different sides of Reacher. Every season, he has to use different elements of himself: brawn, intelligence, ingenuity, troubleshooting, going back and confronting his demons from the stuff that happened with his old platoon. Like every season, you got some, and I think Ritchson brings it every season of Reacher. So how do you kind of put him into something that's his wheelhouse? Well, you take him out of a stupid Kevin James movie and you put him in something like this. This is where Alan Ritchson should be. This is where he lives and breathes, and he's great at it. Now, you add the fact that he might be fighting a fucking Transformer, then I'm like even more crazy. An alien Transformer, possibly. I'm even more into this. What is the role of the military in all of this? Is this a training exercise? Is this some sort of AI situation? Is this a futuristic thing? Like, I have so many questions coming out of this, but the scenes I saw here look excellent. So I'm on board, bro.
You know what? I thought the trailer, I mean, aside from the action, which as I was watching it and I texted Johnny in the middle of it to be like, yep, you're right. I have been, as was just evidence, I have been a little dismissive of Alan Ritchson's acting skills in the past. I mean, Reacher, like the way that he plays that character, I'm like, man, I love to see you punch a guy in the face. When you explain why you punched him, not so much. To his role in Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, another Guy Ritchie film that I really wanted to like, and it just didn't land. Him in this, I'm kind of like, man, I really do buy you. And I hope that it's one of those situations where he gets with the right director and he's able to unlock this sort of, star-making turn. Will it be War Machine? We will find out on March 6th.
Let me add one thing. I think there's an avenue opening up because Gerard Butler is getting older. There is an avenue that opens up that he can slide into as a younger version of this action hero, that he can do things like Greenland or Kandahar or these other things that Hunter Killer that you and I watched in the theater. Like, there are things that there, and Gerard Butler makes a good living doing these movies. There is an Olympus Has Fallen. I could see Richardson in Olympus Has Fallen. So I think there is an avenue opening up for him. He may not get to be Batman and all these other things, but you got to work, you got to eat. And I think this is a possibility in films like this, where you get to see Alan Ritchson do well and build a fan base for him as well that is consistently making him money. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, again, Gerard Butler, when you talk about guys that play a fantastic American blue collar, no better than a Scott with Gerard Butler. I mean, he's fantastic in that type of role. And I mean, based off of this, it's like, okay, Alan Ritchson, maybe maybe you're gonna be the guy.
Yeah,
but again,
very possible.
War Machine comes out on the 6th,
March 6th. March 6th, yeah.
Now on March 8th. So we've got something on the 4th, something on the 6th, something on the 8th. We're going over to HBO Max with Rooster. This is Bill Lawrence, who's been living over on Apple with Ted Lasso and Shrinking. This is his new series starring Steve Carell as sort of an enigmatic author whose daughter is a professor at a college, and she runs into some of life's problems, and her dad wants to come in and rescue her. This one has a host of Bill Lawrence alumni, from John C. McGinley to Phil Dunster from Ted Lasso, and this one looks like a delight. Like, for years, Steve Carell, going from The Daily Show, going to The Office, Steve Carell was just a great funny man. And like most comedic actors, they want to dip their toe into the dramatic waters. And he did that for a few years and with some success. I mean, he had a Best Actor nomination for Foxcatcher. I'm glad he's come back to the comedy, because this show looks like it has the potential to be a delight, to live in that Ted Lasso Shrinking area. So Johnny, what did you think of our first look at Rooster?
Yeah, I have to say, I had a hesitation to watch this trailer when it first popped up on YouTube. I think yesterday morning, I wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, Rooster, Steve Carell. This seems like one of these like kind of blah, blah, blah. But then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because I have a, how can I say this? I have a love and at times hate relationship with Bill Lawrence. It depends. Because like Ted Lasso first season, amazing. Ted Lasso subsequent seasons, less so. Scrubs first season's amazing. You catch me as an extra in season 2 somewhere. But then the last 3 seasons, not so strong. Now I haven't watched Shrinking, and it's partly because I have a hesitation about it. Will I like it as much as some of my friends, including my friend to the left here, tells me I like? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a shot at some point. So I was nervous about watching this, but I got to say I like this trailer. I really did. I don't know the actress who's playing his daughter, but I loved the easy chemistry they have. I love that this feels a little bit like Rodney Dangerfield back to school, like he's coming back to campus. He's got this reputation as the Rooster that he's trying to like adhere to. It's like Frank the Tank 20 years later coming back to campus. Like there's something interesting about that, but also there's an intelligent approach that's going on here as well, but mixed in with the trauma and the drama that happens in upwardly mobile people that we look at and think they're having these amazing lives, but in fact, there's all this emotional trauma behind it. And how much of it is driven by their relationship as he became a successful author, and how much of it is driven by her own kind of instincts. So I came out of this trailer very, very curious to see what we're going to get. I hope I get the screeners soon to see this thing. And a very strong cast with Daniel Deadwyler being a part of this as well. So yeah. And Phil Dunster, speaking of Ted Lasso. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this show is all about.
Yeah, it took a second for me to recognize Jamie Tart without his hair all footy playered up. But yeah, Rooster comes out March 8th. Now we get to take a break in March, Johnny.
Okay.
We get to take a break, couple of weeks. We do, because on March 20th, we've gotten our second trailer for Ready or Not 2, Here I Come.
Yeah.
Again, like Ready or Not was one of those quietly incredible movies, like such a crowd pleaser of a movie. Seems like it definitely got another life on streaming, and if you still rent DVDs. But yeah, Samara Weaving is back as Grace, the married into a family that had to deal with the devil. She consequently beat that family at their own game, and now she's taken hostage again. Apparently that family that she married into, there's a bunch of families like that, and they run the world, and they want to play another game where they are trying to kill her. And to motivate her to play the game, they have kidnapped her sister, played by Catherine Newton, who worked with Radio Silence on Abigail. Again, whatever you got in the teaser, this is just more of that. And I say that in the best way possible. Again, Ready or Not was just such such a fun film, and Ready or Not 2 seems to have really doubled down on that. So, Johnny, what did you think of our second look at Ready or Not 2? Here I come.
I hate to be boring and like all the trailers, but I like this one too. Do I? Oh boy, I love Samara Weaving. I think she's great. I love her in anything she has done, and I think she always delivers a good performance. Are the quality of the films as good as her performance? A lot of times, no. But I think she's damn good. You know, I even loved her in the scenes that she had in Babylon with Margot Robbie, where people had the meta joke about how they look alike. I thought that was really fun. And if Margot hadn't gotten Barbie, maybe this is a possibility where she comes in and plays her sister in this instead of Catherine Newton. But I like the premise of this, because the truth in life is, if you get over on the wealthy, they are going to try to get you again. That's just the truth, right? I beat you in court. Well, here's the appeal. I beat you in the appeal. Well, I'm going to the Supreme Court now. You know, so it's a never-ending battle. So you can literally turn this into a franchise that can go on and on and on in multiple installments. And I like that Samara is not above coming back to be a part of this franchise, right? Sometimes you get hit with a horror franchise and the actress doesn't want to come back for multiple installments because they're like, oh, I want to do other things and higher level fare and make money and blah, 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 which is understandable. But I like that she's come back in this. I do like the premise. Elijah Wood being a part of this was a nice surprise, but it's a good cast. Sean Hatosy there, fresh off his Emmy win for The Pit. Kevin Durant, David Cronenberg is in this as an actor as well. And Catherine Newton, who I think is a good actress, but like, you know, is not always nailing it with the projects that she chooses. I thought she was good in Lisa Frankenstein. I do defend her in Quantumania, even though people may not like that movie. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be a money grab or a legitimate commentary on society, because horror movies like this are always commentaries on our society, whether it be the social structure, the racial structure, or the financial dynamics of the haves and the have-nots, which was the foundation of the first movie. So I'm curious to see what they're going to expose here and how they expand the world of this Ready or Not franchise.
Oh my goodness. So Six the Truth, just on the comments. Samara was so good in Eeny Meeny too. So Eeny Meeny was a Hulu film that my wife and I watched because of our love of Ready or Not. And a solid movie. Like that's the type of movie that would have come out in September, like back in the early 2000s. But if you're looking for something to watch and you're a Samara Weaving fan and you don't want to wait until March 20th, Eeny Meeny on Hulu as well.
There you go. Yeah, Clarissa's right. Catherine Newton was good in Freaky and Abigail. Abigail I have to watch. That's on Peacock. I have not watched that. I hear that's as fun. Not great, but it's fun. That's what I hear. So you know,
it does not reach that Ready or Not level, but there is some fun in it. Yes.
And Kevin Durant's in that one as well, right? So is this the same people? I wonder.
It's all radio silence.
Yeah,
the guys who directed Scream 5 and Scream 6.
There you go. Makes sense. All right, Shan, let's get some questions. I know we're getting close to the end of the show. We got one more topic if we have time. If not, we're just going to do the questions and roll on out of here. We'll see what we have time for. So what do we leave off at? I think this is it. Christopher Wark, 3328 says, John, please come back to the Letterboxd community. I enjoyed your Roaring 20s review. Shannon started the pit just to see you. I'm waiting for that helicopter to come in every episode. Cheers from Australia, Chris. Thanks.
Well, the helicopter came in episode 2. So if you are past episode 2 and you didn't see me, go back to episode 2. That's my first one in season 1.
There you go. But you haven't landed in the helicopter in season 2 just yet, right?
No.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But might be coming. As for Letterboxd, you guys are right. I totally forgot that I posted that Roaring 20s review. I did that late at night after I'd seen the movie and I was just in the mood to talk about it. Because I couldn't talk about it on the YouTube channel. So I should. You're right. I'm going to start watching more and more movies with Tubi and Pluto TV putting a lot of movies on there that I haven't seen. So you get ready for me to drop like some late night reviews when I watch these movies after the Lady Outlaw goes to bed at 9 nowadays. Doug Developer says, The Pit is my new favorite show. Shannon, if you're allowed to, can you please share the audition process for, quote, Flight Nurse? It's so interesting. Yeah, Shannon.
So this was just a self-tape. So I had actually auditioned for, it was either the first episode or maybe it was episode 2. There's a character named Louis Cloverfield, who, if you watch the show, is portrayed by a much older and much heavier black gentleman. So that just goes to show you, when they're auditioning for things, they don't always know what they want. So I auditioned for Louis. I did not think that this was my role, because it was a guy who has severe kind of, liver issues from drinking. The casting directors, they have hired me before on a couple of previous projects. So this role came in, and it was just listed as flight nurse. And when you are self-taping at home, which is the majority of auditions right now, the advantage is you can look and see exactly how you're going to show up on screen. And the disadvantage is actors tend to overthink things. So you can do take after take after take after take. My poor wife had to read for hours until I kind of figured out, because I was trying to run in, because it's all very dynamic. But I mean, I finally figured out, like, oh, okay, I need to move in like this, and this is how I'm going to do the dialogue. And so they reached out a couple of days later and said they were interested. They had talked about having an in-person callback, which for a role that size is a little unusual, but because they're kind of building this big ensemble, I guess it sort of made sense, because the main cast that you see, not just the main doctors and nurses, but the folks who you see repeatedly, they all went to like medical boot camp. I mean, they know how to do a lot of the stuff. Some of the nurses that you see repeatedly who will have a line here, a line there, a lot of them are actual nurses.
Okay.
Yeah. So after I did the first episode, and it felt like it had gone pretty well, they asked to bring me back. And one of the advantages to being brought back is they gave me a name, which is flight nurse Corey Dodds. And it's literally the name that was on the patch on my flight suit. So I mean, it was a really, really great experience. It's a difficult, for me, it's a difficult show, because medicalese is not what I spout off every day, and having to do it kind of rapid fire as you're also wheeling in a gurney and you're giving somebody air. I mean, it's for me, it was difficult. I mean, again, the folks that I'm working with, they seem like it's second nature.
Because they're in that boot camp. I think if they weren't in that boot camp, it wouldn't be so second nature.
They did do the boot camp. But thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. And it's going to come back for a season 3. Will I don't know. Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll see. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that question. KJ, did you watch the Chevy Chase documentary? And what do you think of his film career? I have not watched it. I haven't watched the John Candy one either. So this may be the weekend of watching all kinds of stuff. Well, I guess tomorrow, because the Super Bowl is on Sunday. So tomorrow I'm going to watch the Momoa film, The Rip, and then maybe I'll watch the Candy and Chevy Chase doc. So maybe I'll make it a whole day of watching stuff. But Shannon, have you watched this Chevy Chase documentary?
I did. I actually watched it yesterday.
Oh, wow. Okay. Your thoughts?
It's so they do ultimately portray him in a little bit of a sympathetic light, which is not unusual for the subject of a documentary, but they do show a lot of the warts that go along with him as well. Right. It was an enjoyable watch. I mean, the sort of, the brouhaha around his time on Community, a significant portion of the film is dedicated to that. Wow. And it was fascinating to see. I mean, you can have some very big personalities on sets, and when you get into creative opinions and creative disagreements, and John will be able to testify to this as well. I mean, you can see kind of the ugly part of people, and it sounds like he does have that ugly side, or rather maybe he had that ugly side. And as he has become an older man, that is receding a little bit. But in terms of his film career, outside of the vacation movies, and really Christmas Vacation is the one that gets watched annually. Outside of the vacation movies, not much of his stuff stuck to me. I was never really a Fletch guy. I think I was too young to appreciate that comedy. I mean, I think if I had been at that age, it would have stuck to me a little bit more. But like, he had a movie with Goldie Hawn that he did that I didn't remember.
Yeah, Foul Play. Yes,
Foul Play. Yeah.
And I love that movie. Yeah.
They talked about Memoirs of an Invisible Man that he did with Daryl Hannah and John Carpenter. And like, they had an interview with John Carpenter where he was just kind of like, oh, he was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of directors that are very forthcoming about their feelings of working with him. I mean, I will say Martin Short was there and spoke very complimentary. Steve Martin was not there at all. So I think that does say something. But yeah, I mean, watching the little bit from the Three Amigos, I'm surprised that's never been turned into a musical.
Oh my God, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Damn. You would think they would have figured that out. You think it would have been a fun little meta thing to have him working on a Three Amigos musical all through a season of Only Murders in the Building. That would be really funny, right?
Oh,
that seems like a perfect meta thing for him to do as a producer of that show. So yeah. I think film career, a lot of one and dones. That's what it feels like to me. Like Fletch, I do enjoy Fletch, but I'm with Shannon. I don't fall all over. Like Nost was a massive Fletch fan. I never had that connection to it. I enjoy it, but I didn't go crazy for it. I love him in Caddyshack. That's where I enjoy him. I thought, what's the one? Modern Problems, the one where he gets nuclear waste on him and he can do superpower shit. I thought that was a very funny movie for what he did in that. And he was great in Community. He was great in Community. But there's a lot of misses on his resume in terms of movies. So I think it's a spotty film career, but clearly enough people love him. Of course, the vacation movies, but enough people love him that he's still in the pop culture zeitgeist. And I'll tell you this, for all of his asshole stuff, he's a damn good follow on social media. He does a lot of really funny, smart shit on social media that I can't even remotely come up with and wish I came up with. He's an incredible follow on social media. Matt Guillaume says, if Star Wars Episode 10 ever comes out, will it make more or less than Episode 9? LOL. Oh, I think it'll. I don't know. Kinberg doing it. Ray coming back, possibly. Boyega coming back, possibly Kylo Ren coming back, possibly Luke. I don't know. Maybe yes. I would say yes. How about that? I'll say yes. Shannon?
Oh, I think it definitely makes more than Episode 9 because of that trilogy. I mean, Episode 9 made the least.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
So
made $1 billion, though. Yeah.
But based off of how much time passes and where Star Wars is as a brand, and also the increasing price of tickets.
Yeah,
I think it 100% makes more than Episode 9. I mean, you would like to think that Disney learned some lessons from this trilogy. You would like to think that. Maybe not. So hopefully, if they do decide to go that trilogy route, which it seems like they're doing with Simon Kinberg, that they'll have their ducks in a row a little bit better.
Yeah, that's good call. Good answers, man. Field of Teams, rather. 637 says, have you either of you seen Last Samurai Standing? I have not. That's on the list. It's on Netflix, but I've not watched it. Shannon?
Is this like a competition series?
No, it's like a show about samurai. Yeah. Or a movie. Is it a movie?
I have not heard of this.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's a show. Yeah, it's 6 episodes. But a lot of people tell me it's excellent. I have not watched it yet, but I've got to start watching. Yeah. I'm Truthful Like I Am. Rather have Aegon's Quest as a trilogy or a series? That's the Game of Thrones Aegon's Quest. Because back in January or earlier in January, there was a rumor that the Aegon's Quest was in development and could get a major theatrical release. It follows King Aegon, the first Targaryen's conquest of Westeros, establishing the Targaryen dynasty. This would be 300 years before Game of Thrones, and certainly before Night of Seven Kingdoms. So I don't know that Game of Thrones transfers over to a theatrical situation. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know.
I agree with you. I think as an audience, at least the audience that has not read the books, I think you're kind of so conditioned to see it on our television screens from week to week. I think a movie, I don't know. Based off of what's the way our George R.R. Martin writes, I think trying to cut something down into 7 hours, versus for 3 movies versus potentially 30 hours as a television series, I feel like you would get more out of the series.
Yeah, true. Good point. Isaac Rocky says, did you guys watch the Colin Farrell series Sugar? The 2nd season premieres on June 19th, and I'm really looking forward to it. Great to catch you live, even though I'm late. Well, thank you, Isaac Rocky. We'll take you late, on time, or whenever. So, Shannon, we are halfway through Sugar. I'm on the fence on it. I haven't felt inspired to come back to it. She wants to finish it, so maybe we will finish it. But I think you liked it, didn't you?
I liked most of it. There is
what can
for
you
the
say?
next 30 seconds, if you have not watched Sugar, hit mute. 30 seconds. There is
I'll wave my hands when he's done with that. Go ahead. Yeah.
There is, and Isaac Rocky, I don't know if you finished it, but there is a thing that happens in the latter half, like the last third of the series. There's a turn that the series takes. Prior to the turn, I was so into it. I loved the kind of noir detective vibes, but it was still modern day. I thought Colin Farrell was perfectly cast. Then the thing happens. And it is so stark that my wife and I were literally looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? And so maybe if the 2nd season, there's no way not to address it. Maybe if the 2nd series is able to capitalize on that twist, like we're definitely going to watch it because we want to find out. But that twist was so unexpected, which, kudos to the filmmakers for that. But yeah, we'll see. Again, I love the beginning.
Okay, there you go. Come on back, everybody. Fantastic says Trachtenberg would crush Mission Impossible. I agree. He would absolutely. You have to find a new Ethan Hunt, but I think he'd be great at shepherding this. I agree.
Don't you think that's too big of a jump, though? I mean, I get that we're talking about aliens and planets and all that, but it's just the world is just so much bigger.
Yeah, I would say to you, how can I say this? Just because he did Aliens doesn't mean he can do Mission Impossible. So I think that's actually fair, Shannon, to say that, because you're talking about a jump in prestige and a jump in expectations and a jump in following Tom Cruise and what he was able to do over 8 movies. That's a hell of a thing to be stepping into. Yes, the last 2 installments weren't that great, but people loved those previous 3 installments. So you'd still have a massive task ahead of you to try to get people inspired by it and match the quality of the ones that are still freshly in people's heads. So yeah, it's tough. It would be tough.
Well, but also the story. I mean, the Predator stories that he has told, those are small stories.
That's true.
I don't know can you tell a small story in the Mission Impossible world? I mean,
I feel like maybe MI3 was the closest because JJ's a TV guy. Maybe that's the closest that you get to a smaller story, but I hear you. It's not easy. Yeah. By the way, still a damn good movie. I watched 30 minutes of that one the other night.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Please. Do you have a girlfriend? Somebody love. Wiley F says, what is the best way to drink Johnny Walker Black Label? Don't ask me. I like my drinks water. I like my drinks with mixers, so I can't tell you.
I wish that I enjoyed whiskey. I think there is nothing cooler looking than a tumbler, couple of rocks, and a little bit of brown liquor. Whiskey makes my stomach hurt so much.
Oh, wow.
Every once in a while, I will have whiskey with Vogel at his place. Like he'll pour a little bit with some some Coke Zero. I mean, we're doing it the Rocha way.
Right, of course.
But yeah, I mean, like looking at guys drinking like old fashions and everything. There's the whiskey bar that's in Toluca Lake, Foreman's. I think I'm like, God, I wish I enjoyed this, but I am not built, despite my Scottish Scottish ancestry. I am not built for that type of spirit.
No whiskey. Bernie Bruce says, support for you guys. Rocha, did you catch up on the rip yet? No, I will tomorrow. I promise. Tomorrow. I promise. Tomorrow. There's no Liverpool game. We just have to go to the farmer's market so I can sit here and watch movies tomorrow for sure. All right. Jared J says, Matchbox, the movie is racing to a theater near you in 2026 with John Cena. Terrible hand to the face emoji and the facepalm emoji. Yeah, he was promoting that thing the other day at the Apple event. Shannon, yes, no.
I saw a still from it.
Okay.
And it was John Cena, and there wasn't a car in sight. So to me, that didn't quite make sense to me, to the point that I'm like, is this the race car movie?
We'll see. KJ74 says, now that there's been some time past, can we finally admit that Dial of Destiny is a bad film? No!
Oh, sir. Is it as good as the first three? No, it is not. Is it a better send-off than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull would have been? Yes. I think they get enough right for it not to be a complete creative write-off. But that being said, yeah, I feel like they got more right than wrong, but it was real close.
Yeah, I'll agree with Shannon. I think it's much more watchable than Crystal Skull or Temple of Doom, which I just do not like. I will watch Dial of Destiny, but like the other two are just untouchable, for God's sake. So yeah, it didn't come close to those two. Michael McKenzie says, is it just me, but does that War Machine trailer look dangerously close to a Metal Gear movie? Kojima might sue. If I knew what Metal Gear is like, I would let you know what I feel. Shannon, have you played Metal Gear? Do you think it looks close to that?
You know, I have never. I know Metal Gear Solid. I know the game. I've never played it. I thought that the addition of the ship that turns into the robot, I thought that would have. I thought Metal Gear Solid was more kind of like Call of Duty, like real world, but more kind of Black Ops. Right. But I might be wrong there.
Okay, yeah. Sorry that we don't know, Michael. Fred Testing, I want a late night review of The Union on Netflix. What is The Union? I don't know what this is. Let me look it up real quick. The Union, the Mark Wahlberg, Halle Berry film. You can wait forever. I'm not going to be watching that movie. I do not watch any of his streaming movies because they almost all suck, except for the Michelle Monaghan one, which our friends' kids are on. So
the family plan. You know what the most disappointing Mark Wahlberg streaming movie was? Spencer for Hire.
Oh, really? You thought that was disappointing? Okay.
You had Winston Duke as Hawk, and I'm kind of like, and I think Peter Berg directed it. I'm like, oh, okay, this might be fun. What a piece of crap. I mean, so disappointing.
It's so weird because I think he can still bring it as an actor. I mean, I saw, look, Father Stu is not a good movie, but he was good in it. I thought Joe Bell, he was damn good in Joe Bell. And I thought, because Uncharted wasn't that great of a movie and he was miscast, he was doing his best with Uncharted. So, Spencer was the disappointment. What was the one that on Paramount Plus that was not good? That was Infinite. Ooh, Infinite was dog shit, utter dog shit. So I don't trust his streaming stuff. I really, aside from the family play. Jay Scotty Frio recently saw the original 1956 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers for the first time and was enraptured. Have you seen it? That's actually the first version I ever watched, was the 1956 version on Metro Media 5 in DC growing up. I've not seen the Donald Sutherland one. Shannon, did you see either of these movies?
I haven't. I've seen people love to do their Donald Sutherland at the end of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That one. Yeah. the point with the. But outside of that, I've never seen that. I did see the sorta reboot with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Oh, right, Invasion. Yes.
Yeah, yes, and it was not great.
Yeah, why can't they get that movie right? I don't understand. It's such good source material. Josh Stuckwall says, John, for Wind Talkers. Oh my God. Can I tell you, Shannon, the other night it was on Pluto TV and I made the Lady Outlaw sit there with me and watch me pop up on the screen 7 times in that movie and my voice because I did ADR work for that movie. Did you get to do your filming at Kualoa Ranch in Hawaii? Amazing place. My wife and I got married in Hawaii. Oh, her home state. And we loved every minute we spent there. I did not shoot in Hawaii. I shot all in Antelope Valley and in LA because they originally shot in Kualoa Ranch and he was going so far over budget that the studio forced them to come and shoot in LA. And they brought an old man to stand there next to John Woo to tell him when he's had enough takes to save money. And because they moved to production LA, that's how I got on the production, because it happened, I think, a week or 2 before I moved to LA. And then I auditioned like within the first weekend I was in LA, and I got on as a main extra and worked for 6 months on that movie and made a shit ton of cash on that movie and became a SAG actor. Like I didn't work one non-union day in my life in LA. I was immediately a union from the first week second week I arrived here, which pissed some of my friends off from what I understand. So it was just the way it went down. No one on the screen right now, by the way. But, just want to make sure that's cool. But I was in Kualoa Ranch for the first Jumanji movie. I was there and that was a blast. It's a beautiful location. I got to interview The Rock and Jack Black and Kevin Hart. Yeah, which they've taken down. Collider took down all my interviews, sadly, because I no longer work there. But that was almost 1 million views, that interview. It was so much fun because they all did wrestling promos. I had them all do wrestling promos to promote the movie, which was a lot of fun, but Collider took it down. Jody Money 1186. Good evening, gents. In lieu of maintaining an emotional connection with my wife, I'm following Andor's award season run. What do you think are its chances at the DGA tomorrow up against Severance, The Pit, and The Diplomat? I would say 0.
Yeah, I would say the Pit and Severance are probably the heavy favorites.
Sadly, a lot of these voting bodies, in their minds, is just enough to nominate a film like or show like Andor. They're not going to give them the big awards because they're still going to default to these more dramatic, ground-based type of shows. That being said, Andor is very topical, so who knows? Could pull an upset, but it seems pretty clear that they won't. Kevin Frazier says, Shannon, congratulations on all your achievements, and John, thanks for all you do, helping to keep me sane in these wild times.
Yeah.
Bro, we all need it, bro. We all need it.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, these are unprecedented times we're living in.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you this, everybody who's watching right now. If my brother Shannon McClung is commenting on it and texting me about it, you know it's gotten way too far, because Shannon is very good at keeping a level head with this stuff, right? I'm the emotional one. I'm the one that's like, the world's ending. Right? Shannon is more like, we're going to get through it. If even Shannon is having issues with it, we're at a tipping point, I feel like. So. All right, real quick, Shannon, we got some Streamlabs. We'll get on out of here. I know we have to go. I can't read this. Sorry. SLID8. A source told me that Shannon is replacing Robert Downey Jr. as Doom in the MCU. Wonderful. The big break he deserves. I wish Shannon had letterboxed, and I wish John was more active on it. We care about what you're watching, guys. I love you both deeply. Sleep well, buddies.
Oh, that's amazing. I don't think they want Doom to be shorter than Downey. Traditionally, Victor Von Doom's a taller fella.
Maybe they can just build like what they did with Michael Clark Duncan, is build divots where people can walk and look lower than you. Maybe, I don't know. Fantastic says, hey, Geek Buddies, excited for this live show. Just dropping in here to show my support. Go, Geek Buddies, go. Thank you, Frank. Always nice to see you, brother. Hill Nellums. Hill, what's up, Hill? Just sending some love on this Friday. What were your top 3 to 5 Saturday morning or after school cartoons that were always a must watch for you growing up? Yeah, Shannon, we recently had a text exchange with 2 of our friends just going off for multiple responses. Which I did not chime in on because I was just like, this is all y'all's. But
you weren't watching cartoons when we were.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I can't chime in on this. So, yeah. Do you have a top 3 to 5 Saturday morning or after school cartoons that were always a must watch for you growing up, Shan?
Yeah. I loved Silverhawks. I was a huge Silverhawks.
Oh yeah, Silverhawks is
like
great.
Thundercats, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's okay. But Silverhawks had that Star Wars space connection.
Yep.
I loved Mask. The idea that the vehicle that turns into a different vehicle. Those are some toys I had. And yeah, I mean, G.I. Joe always did a really good job at like those multi-episode events, like the whole Serpentor arc, where they're going to get the DNA of former warriors, leaders, and stuff like that. So yeah, it would probably be G.I. Joe. Yeah, G.I. Joe, Mask, and Silverhawks.
Yeah. I have to. I'm looking at them right now. G.I. Joe, definitely. He-Man, definitely. Super Friends, that was a big one for me growing up. I know those were, reruns, but they were big for me growing up when I was young. And Transformers. I mean, one of the reasons I love Transformers, love those movies, is because that's one of the first animated series I watched when I was a kid that just got its hooks in me forever. So I will always love Transformers. I hear you on Silverhawks. I thought Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was another great one as well. And there was that Japanese one that was that the one? Is that Silverhawks? The Japanese one that was like
Voltron.
No. The one that like Team America World Police took its style from. And I can't remember what the name of that cartoon.
Are you talking about the Thunderbirds?
Yeah, Thunderbirds.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking loved Thunderbirds. That was my wheelhouse as well. So a little more than 3 to 5 there for your answer, Hill. But that was our answers there. Lou says, Geek Buddies, drinks on me. Thank you, Lou. Very kind of you, bro. SLID comes back. I'm just going to leave it because there's so many numbers. What's good? Send Help was so good. I would love to see Dylan O'Brien get more shots. But let me ask actors, would you all rather be best actor in the worst movie of the year or the worst actor in the best picture at the Oscars?
That's a
you son of a bitch. That's a tough question.
Well, you would like to think that the worst actor in the best picture at the Oscars, no one's going to be bad. So I would probably go with that. Like, no one wants to be, the lead of a shitty movie. But the lead of a shitty movie, you're going to make more money than the worst actor on the best picture.
True.
Because the worst, again, I'm thinking worst, like you just don't, you're not in it as much. So you could work a day. You're making $1,500. I mean, if you are the lead of a terrible film, that's a potential 3-month shoot. So financially, one is much more beneficial than the other, but neither one of these situations are great.
Yeah. I would say the worst actor in a best picture at the Oscars. And I'll tell you why, because worst actor is subjective. And what we've discovered over the last few years is that no opinion is valid and no opinion is invalid. And so there will always be people who will defend the opposite of your point of view rather fervently, right? And so you may be, to some people, the worst actor in the best picture at the Oscars, but other people will defend your performance and think you were damn good in that movie. So I'd rather take a chance on that and be in a best picture movie than I would being the best actor in the worst movie of the year, because no one's going to see your performance. So what does it fucking matter? Unless you're talking about Jurassic World, then I'll happily be the lead in Jurassic World being a shitty movie, as most of those movies are, and make $800 million on that movie and, parlay that into a quote where I can say the next movie I can make $30 million a movie. So I'd have to have more of your scenario to flesh out my answer. But as you presented, I'm with Shannon, worst actor in the best picture at the Oscars, for sure. So that's my answer. All right, that's all our questions, Shannon. We did have one more topic, but do you got to go, or do you have time for like a quick 5-minute conversation? All right,
yeah, we got
last one, because it's in the title. We got to talk about this. Jared Leto already trying to sink the He-Man of the Masters Universe, in my opinion. He was interviewed by Empire Of course, he's going to be playing Skeletor in this Travis Knight directed Masters of the Universe movie. And he was talking about playing Skeletor, and he said that Travis Knight let him, quote, swing for the fences. And he said Skeletor was a really interesting villain. He looked cool. He was scary. He was funny. He was insecure. And then, of course, he had this distinctive voice. And then he goes on to say that Skeletor was the embodiment. Oh, sorry. Travis Knight goes on to say that Skeletor's kind of the embodiment of toxic masculinity. So now you have the director and you have the actor calling Skeletor insecure and the embodiment of toxic masculinity. Now, Shannon, I get that this is a fun philosophical conversation to have with your friends at a bar, over drinks at a happy hour, or at night. But to do this in public when those buzzwords indicate certain things, I think is such a self-destructive, stupid thing to do. I love Travis Knight. I like Jared Leto for the most part. Your thoughts on these comments from Leto and from Travis Knight?
I don't think it's, I mean, that movie's coming out in 4 months. Like, this interview is going to be forgotten.
Good point.
And also the fact that Travis Knight is the one being quoted. Like,
yes,
you know, so it's one thing if Jared Leto comes out and is like, this is what I'm doing. It's another thing for the director to be like, hey, so we had conversations. This is what we decided on. I mean, look, Jared Leto as a personality is a little confounding. Like,
yes,
there are all of these stories about how he can be on set with, especially like Suicide Squad, like sending the gifts that he sent as the Joker to his castmates and everything.
Right.
You look at his films, and they're a bit of a mixed bag. He does have an Oscar. Like, he's not an untalented performer.
Right.
But also, I think when you are playing essentially the voice of a thing, I think there is a little bit of box office forgiveness. if this thing just takes a giant crap at the box office, I don't think anyone's going to be blaming Jared Leto. I mean, because one, when your face is not on the screen, you do escape a little bit. Like, if you have an animated film that doesn't do great, I don't think anyone's looking at the lead voice and being like, boy, they really screwed up. And part of that is because you didn't see him. You heard him the whole time. Titan AE was not a box office success. Matt Damon was fine. So, I mean, I am curious to see. I mean, the casting of Masters of the Universe, it's a little all over the place. I mean, I don't dislike the way Idris Elba looks. I think his helmet looks a little weird, but it's also, that's Man-at-Arms.
Yeah.
I imagine we will see a little bit of Jared Leto prior to him becoming a talking skull, because in some of the lore, he's actually Prince Adam's uncle. That is, he was Keldor, who was Randor's like brother, half brother thing. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think there is more to ding the film on based off of the trailer than the casting of Jared Leto.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, normally I love a conversation about characters that were toxic masculinity, because I do think it exists. Fuck Piers Morgan. I do think it exists. But, like, this is not the place to have that conversation. And I think it was, I think if I'm the studio, I'm going, Travis, why the fuck did you say that? If I'm the true studio, I go to Jared Leto, go, don't call him insecure. Nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to see this nuanced, layered, new interpretation of Skeletor that has a commentary on masculinity. This is not the place for that. This is a fucking He-Man movie. We should just be trying to get these characters as close to what we saw or kids saw when they were, or the adults that are the kids when they were younger, and have fun with it. Start throwing in these concepts of toxic masculinity and insecurity and because he's got muscles and he's trying to take over the galaxy. Like, unless that's part of the comedy. And I guess with the him, the pronouns thing, maybe this is a window. I'm thinking as I'm talking, Shannon, maybe this is in the window into the kind of humor that we're going to get in the movie, which is a commentary on these kinds of things. But fuck, man, that's a hell of a line to be walking in a film like He-Man, brother. I just don't know that that's necessarily the right approach. It makes me very, very nervous for the whole situation. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The bar for even with the announcement of Travis Knight and Mattel coming off the success of the Barbie movie. I mean, how high was the bar set for this film?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like
good point.
Getting to watch a Masters of the Universe movie, I'm kind of like, yeah, sure. Like we had one at bat with Dolph Lundgren in the 80s. Right. It's like, sure, let's give another one. It'll be interesting to see if the younger audience is interested in whether they're the ones that connect to it, because they're the ones that are going to keep it going.
And I want to clarify this because I want to slice it a little bit before we end here. The nuance of it, and nuances. I'm good if you want to instill that in your approach to Skeletor. Like if your process, personally, Jared Leto and Travis Knight together, is to play him as, or portray him as an insecure guy who slides into toxic masculinity places, totally fucking great. To put that out there, out loud in an interview, I think is dangerous. And you're going to line people up. Look how people reacted to the pronouns joke. Like people went crazy. So I just think it's dangerous. Like keep that shit to yourself. Let the film stand on its own. And if it's a success, then in interviews you can do and talk about your approach and all of this kind of stuff. I just think it's dangerous to use buzzwords like this ahead of the film's debut. I'm not saying you shouldn't approach it that way as an actor. I'm saying you shouldn't talk about it until after because of how people react to that stuff. So,
don't tell me how you made the burger until after I've eaten it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see you slaughter the cows. Give me the burger. One last thing, Fiona George says, by the way, I'm catching up, but Loki had a season 2. Yeah, I said that. Loki had a season 2 and What If had seasons as well. So I think if you go back to that section, I did say that when it comes to Wonder Man. All right, Shannon, let's get out of here. Thank you very much for hanging out a little bit extra past the time. Please let people, please. What do we have to tell the people who are listening to us or watching us right now?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's at @geek_buddies. On Instagram, at @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at @Shannon_McClung. On Instagram, at Shannon the Geek Buddy. Also, I will be back on the pit February 19th.
Oh, nice. All right.
I think that's it. If you'd like to follow Mr. Rocha, it is at The Rocha Says.
Yeah, and of course, you can always follow our absent friend at MK2 and Michael Vogel there. But thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. We appreciate you all madly. Please remember, we are a podcast as well. So if you want to listen to any of our episodes, you can go back and subscribe to the podcast wherever you download podcasts. And we really love for you all to do that because we are getting ads. We are getting sponsors for the show on the podcast. And we'd like to get more of those ads to make the show a little more financially good for all of us. So if you could take a moment and subscribe to the Geek Buddies on wherever you download podcasts, we would appreciate it madly. Thank you to everybody. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Enjoy your weekend. Have a fun Super Bowl. Come join me live on Sunday as I watch Super Bowl if you like. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the
Geek